you check the children.
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
Sometimes that is better.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Horror Show. I'm Cecil, Laird.
Rob the Wolfman.
And we are here to do another Patreon request from none other than Heather Smith.
Yeah.
Longtime supporter. We greatly appreciate it, as always. And this one had us going back to a different classic franchise, starting with the original 2003 Wrong Turn, starring Eliza Dushku. That's how you say it, because she's corrected a lot of people. It's not Dushku, it's Dushku. It's like push, but dush. So anyway,
Sure.
if anyone's curious, that's how you say it. But nonetheless, this is the first in the now long-running series that I believe has 7 entries overall, including the remake, the 2020 version or 2021, whatever
Something
it was.
like that, yeah.
So yeah, that was kind of a reboot of the franchise, but it always generally centers around people getting lost in the woods and running afoul of some genetically challenged humans.
They're inbred.
They're inbred hicks, yeah, that are deformed. Yeah.
Hardcore inbreeding.
Yes. So, nonetheless, this is the beginning of a long-running franchise, as I said, and it was fun to revisit the very first entry, getting right into it. I thought that I saw definitely why this not only spawned sequels, but also was like the standout of its kind, you know, at the time. The Hills Have Eyes remake came after this. But this was a very successful, you know, getting lost in the woods and running afoul of some bad shit sort of movie. Very successful.
No, absolutely. And again, like going back to it was definitely nice to go back and revisit this movie because it has probably been since it came out since I had watched it.
Yeah.
And it was weird. It was weird because like I kind of remembered the entire thing.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it was. I'm like just kind of like pre-predicting everything, and it's like, oh, yep, tree axe to the face.
Yep.
That was, guys. Honestly, that's still one of my favorite scenes of that movie.
That was
a
kind
good.
of-
That was a good little.
I don't
kill.
think that he purposely did this, but this was a kill that Vince DeSantis sort of replicated with Never Hike in the Snow with the hiker.
Yeah. That was
But
a
just
good
a little
one,
bit
too.
different, yeah. So, yeah, the axe to the mouth sort of kill.
But like, I've always like, yes, I've liked this movie, but I've never been super big on like again, like these types of movies. They never really fully interest me. Wrong Turn, it has one of those little soft spots. You can't disagree with that because again, it was that like kind of what Cecil was talking about earlier, that resurgence before like the Hills Have Eyes remake came back out. So we haven't really had one of those in quite a while.
Right, yeah. But I enjoyed it, like I said. So the story, just really briefly, is a group of characters get, you know, run into each other, so to speak, at the beginning of the movie and are forced to try and find help in a remote part of the forest on a road that is not normally traveled by many people. So they're basically on their own, and while they're looking around, they happen across this house that they're looking for a phone, but it is on the inside. It's basically the Texas Chainsaw Massacre home.
It's dirty.
But it's
Nasty.
yeah, it's really cool though. Really good set design and
Absolutely. And at times, like it was kind of gross looking at it.
Yeah.
Their production was well put on their budget.
for sure. And not only that, but it doesn't take long to get to the kills. Like once the bigger group of people goes off to go and find help, and it leaves this other couple behind. That couple doesn't make it a terribly long time, and so it leads to a really cool scene when the rest of the group finds this house and are exploring it, but they have to hide and watch what happens to one of their friends by this cannibalistic, by the way, group of inbred hicks.
Yeah, that would be a horrible way to die.
Oh yeah.
If you guys know what scene we're referring to, like choke out.
Yeah. Yeah, not fun.
Yeah, that's a shitty way to die, but really good kill. Like,
Yeah,
it
and
this movie had some really fun kills. Like
it earned its R too. Like
Yeah,
that's the nice
absolutely.
thing. So it's not one that wastes your time. It's not one that bothered with a PG-13 cut to raise its its intake at the box office. This was an R-rated horror movie through and through, and it does well for it, honestly. It sets a tone, and it carries a tone, and the tension does continue as they just try and escape the woods that clearly this group of cannibals knows better than they do. So it's tense through the whole thing. They're proficient with their weapons, and it makes for a scary scenario. And I see why this spawned so many sequels and sort of copycat films.
Because well, also too, like, it's an easy property to push and keep going.
Sure, true, yeah. The only expense is the gore usually, and the stunts.
Yeah, that's true. Because again, the story is you can only tell.
Story's basic.
Yeah, you can only tell this type of story so many times.
Not much need for CG or anything like that.
No,
so,
but that's also the nice thing that I can appreciate about like the Wrong Turn movies is they did pretty much stick with a lot of just practical effects.
Yeah.
And that's why I think also why they lasted as long as they did.
I wouldn't disagree with you. So, story-wise, you were satisfied enough with it?
Yeah, it was basic. It was almost like that teen horror.
Yeah.
Back in 2003, and honestly, I was what, 13 when this came out.
Mm-hmm.
So it was that teen horror and stuff, and it was scary at the time, but scary, at the time. But no, it was overall like I definitely enjoyed the story. It was generic, but it at least we had some good, well-written characters.
Yeah. And
like their chemistry for the most part were generic-ish.
Yeah, there was a couple of characters that got a little annoying, but at least their interactions with each other felt believable. Getting into the acting of it all, obviously, because we've made that transition. The characters, we've seen a lot of these actors in other things, just in little bit roles here and there, and it's funny to see them as younger versions of themselves. The one that, everyone gloms onto and the marketing did as well was, as we mentioned, Eliza Dushku, and she, interestingly enough, I don't know if I never noticed this before or whatever, but she basically wears the same expression through the majority of the movie, which is really odd. There's not very much range at all. She's just constantly like...
If you guys know how
worried,
the
looking
shit
around
Kristen
sort of
Stewart
thing.
gets about her acting.
Yeah.
Like that stone, just like there's no matter if you're sad or anything, it's the same goddamn
similar problem here. Similar problem here. And I like Eliza because she was great on Dollhouse, she was great on Buffy. She's done really good work. But yeah, this was just very one note, so it was a little odd, but the acting overall, it was serviceable enough for what we needed. We just needed meat bags.
Basically, and obviously, there like some people did better than the others. The people that played the lunatics, the family in the woods, was fantastic. Yeah. One of them was actually played by Julian Richards, Death.
Oh, okay. Oh, really?
Yeah, he was the little skinny one.
Interesting.
At the end. Yeah.
All right. Well,
he was fantastic.
Yeah, he did a great job. I was curious too because I remembered some of the bad guys in the later ones being from earlier ones, but I couldn't remember if any of the ones from this survived and kept going and stuff like that. So it was interesting to watch from that perspective.
Realistically, they shouldn't have survived.
No, realistically, a couple of different ways they should, But nonetheless, it's still a really fun movie. As we said, the gore was there. The sound design was fine. It did a good job.
I enjoyed the music.
I didn't really register the music that much.
Well, I just recognized it was mainly because of the popular songs, times and everything.
The soundtrack. Then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
So they were still using good songs to placate with the scene, and that's the best way to elevate is sometimes with getting some lyrics in there.
Yeah, I get you.
Instead of just doing straight instrumental.
That's fair.
They don't make soundtracks like they used to.
So yeah, overall, Wrong Turn is still a worthwhile time for you guys.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's not long. It's like an hour and a half in and out, something like that. But it was a fun revisit, and it's one that I could rewatch again because it doesn't go crazy with CG or anything like that, and the characters are relatively believable, and I just really enjoyed it. So
absolutely,
yeah,
there were definitely some good times of legit tension.
Yeah.
Obviously we've seen it before, but you still had that develop even with on a rewatch, which is nice.
Exactly. So, yeah, I think that's going to do it. thank you again to Heather for suggesting this. If you guys, thank you to all of our patrons for supporting the channel the way that you do. If you guys want to become a patron and you're seeing this, if it's not a Patreon only at the point that you're seeing this, then the link is in the description box down below. But thank you guys very much for watching. Until next time, I've been Cecil Laird.
Rob Wolfman.
And remember, stay scared.